So, you know what I want to do? I was eating my potato chips, waiting for you. So, what was I doing? Scrolling through social media. And I want to share this. I'm going to just dive right in. I want to share this. This is your post from yesterday, and this is the day after what happened to tomorrow Monday Night Football that has the whole country talking. Because I thought this was a great post, and I think this is a good way to get into this. It's not lost on me that in a world where we are afraid to say the word God in school or in public, in a world where many are mocked for their faith, no matter how they worship, that last night, Monday Night Football, you heard the words pray over and over. Grown men crying on TV, men who are programmed to play through pain most of us couldn't begin to understand. We are not a perfect people, but last night a game made us realize what we already knew. We care about each other a lot more than we think we do. We may want to take a look at what divides us and wonder in a moment how a 24-year-old who seems to be a good guy had a nation praying for him. We need the same urgency when it comes to Chicago and a nation. We can't just become immune to what happens around here every day. So as much as I love to joke and tease you, you're like just a big old teddy bear, aren't you? You got a heart.
I suppose.
But and that's the purpose of this. So yesterday, the one that got us booted, because of all the research that I do for my website, and I go deep and I get answers from both sides. I don't just try to find answers to fit my opinion. We discussed the elephant in the room, and to avoid getting flagged again, what are you trying to show? I thought you were trying to show your.
Oh no, not those. No,
yeah,
not those.
Well, we'll call it the stick.
Yeah, what goes in there?
The stick, and
yeah.
I mean, basically, we asked a question what a lot of people are asking. Young people, especially athletes in their prime, are dropping like flies. So that's what we discussed.
Another one today. 38-year-old guy used to play for the Jacksonville Jaguars today.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. Heart attack? So, yeah. So, YouTube is not the place that you can discuss things like that, apparently.
Well, why not? Why not? I mean, I can log onto YouTube and see, chicks running around with their asses hanging out, people getting in accidents in their cars, stuff that I don't necessarily want to watch. But we really didn't mention anything that should have got us booted from anywhere yesterday.
We mentioned some, yeah.
I didn't mention it. You did, because in your Bozeman world, you're a doctor.
No, I'm not. Stop saying that. Here's the deal. I've done so much research that I know a lot, and I have it all stored for a time when it may be necessary to talk about. And because we're seeing this happen in record numbers, and I think that we know the answer to why this is happening to athletes. But if you try to have a science-backed, peer-reviewed discussion about the science behind why this might be happening, bam, we get booted. So that's another story for another day.
We follow the science only when it fits a narrative.
Yes, exactly.
We have become a nation of idiots. I mean, it is. I can't deal with it, man. You got it right, man. Out there in the middle of the mountains, you're out there with quality people and cattle,
yeah.
And I'm in a subdivision with sheep.
We've just become wussies. We've become wussies, and when we try to speak truth, when we try to say, hey, wait, or even question science, it's overwhelming. And there are too many people in charge and controlling the narrative. And we're already exhausted in our lives, right? We have enough shit going on. It takes a lot to really stand out and put yourself out on the line. Thing that I do want to mention, I stumbled upon it last night on Netflix, and I know we're kind of all over the place right now, but I want to make sure.
I'm fine. You're all over the place.
I want to make sure that I get this in. I was watching on Netflix. It's a series called Live to Lead, and it's inspired by Nelson Mandela. Now, I probably shouldn't even mention this, that Harry and Meghan do the intro for each. Okay, I watched Harry and Meghan, and personally, I loved it. I love that they're such rebels and they're going against what they're supposed to be doing. They're living their lives, and I really give them a lot of credit for it. And they are trying to make a difference in the world. So they featured a bunch of people: Ruth Bader Ginsburg, Greta Thunberg, whatever her name is, that girl from Sweden that is
How dare you?
raising
How dare you?
for she's a badass, man.
She's
She's
a
a
punk.
badass. About climate change. I think the guy's name was Brian Stevenson. He is an attorney in Montgomery, Alabama. That is, I think he's gotten over 130 people out of prison that were wrongfully convicted and put in prison. So great people. Oh, and New Zealand's Prime Minister, Jacinda, I forgot her last name. It's all these people that are man, that Jacinda, you got to watch that just to show how I believe politics should be done in this country. She's got it right. She's doing it right.
You know, it's amazing because right now the Republicans who were supposed to have the big red wave, the GOP, they can't even pick a House leader. I mean, it's like, come on, guys. How you know, because that's mostly how I identify. That's my party. But man, they look stupid. They look just. I mean, it really is ridiculous. They can't get out of their own way. That's the one thing that the left doesn't do. They don't eat their own. But the Republicans, they'll beat the hell out of each other, and then they'll wonder, gee, I don't know why we can't beat Joe Biden. It's like, come on, man. You know, the funny thing is somewhere common sense has to prevail, and it just doesn't. And I don't think it's any different than it used to be because my mom, I've got some gold on her coming up.
Oh, goody.
But yeah, my mom had me go to the Social Security office this morning in Aurora. That was something. That's on the way. That's what we call a tease in the business.
That's a tease.
But you know, I think politics has always been this way. But now everybody has their phone, everybody has an opinion, and everybody can share it. And you know, she'll say, "Oh, the world's gone to hell." You know, the damn social media and all of this. I'm like, yeah, you were the ones that developed the bomb, and we're the ones that made it go to hell. Okay. But I think it's always been like this. It's just magnified right now. Whatever.
It's a mess. It's a mess, and we won't get into politics. You know, I don't like talking about that, even though I brought it up. But yeah, I highly recommend Netflix. Live to Lead. They say that the series is inspired by Nelson Mandela, and this is a quote that they gave that I think we should all maybe take some time to reflect on. What counts in life is not the mere fact that we have lived. It is what difference we have made to the lives of others that will determine the significance of the life we lead.
You know, it's interesting you bring that up because you're reading stuff like that. And before you and I started doing this, I got a text message from a friend of mine, Kyle, who I race snowmobiles with.
Yeah.
And he has some stickers made up for our snowmobiles that say, mix gas, haul ass. So that's what I'm going with today. We're talking about like Nelson Mandela, and that's the level of playing field I'm on.
I like that mantra. It's a good mantra. So
mix gas, haul ass.
Haul ass. How fast do you go on snowmobiles, by the way?
How fast you want to go?
I can't remember how fast we went. Like, it's been a long time. I used to go snowmobiling up in Tomahawk all the time. I had an Arctic Cat. My stepdad had Skidoo, and man, we had good times. It was great being, I don't know.
Just do me a favor. Say Skidoo again.
Skidoo.
Oh man, that's so sexy to hear you say that.
Whatever.
That's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot.
So
fastest I've gone on a snowmobile is 154 miles an hour.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was on a lake.
That was on a lake on a turbo Arctic Cat snowmobile a friend of mine owns.
Okay.
Um, by no means is that the fastest one on the lake that day or anywhere around, but it's pretty fast for me.
And people don't realize how dangerous it is. There was some dude that just got killed. Uh, he Ken Block. He was the co-founder of, I think, DC Shoes, and such a tragic story. I think he was in Utah and snowmobiling. And did you hear about this? I think the snowmobile fell over on him. He was in deep snow or something. And
Yeah, Ken Block, of course you mentioned DC Shoes. He also had a website. It's called Hoonigan, and you see it all over on cars and you know, the guys that wear their hats backwards with the brims flipped up and back. You know, you'd always see a Hoonigan sticker on their car, bike, whatever. But he was really a good guy, and everybody in the motorsports industry is tweeting about him today. Of course, he didn't get the press because of what happened with the Buffalo Bill safety. But Ken was riding in the mountains, and I don't know the situation, but what happens is it's incredible what guys are doing on snowmobiles out there. And I think what happened is the sled came down on him and crushed his rib cage, and that's a problem, and that's a problem with ATVs and snowmobiles. And I always say this to moms and dads because you know we like to get our kids involved. My kids have been riding snowmobiles and motorcycles since they were 4, but wear a chest protector, and I'll bet you anything he had one on. But wear a Tech Best chest protector to protect you as much as you can from instances like that. But you know, when you've got that much weight coming down, it's tough, man. Yeah, that was bad. I felt horrible because you know that's what I like to do, and that was kind of a freak accident. More people are going to get killed in the woods hitting trees than they will in the mountains.
yeah, and it's just
I like how you were quoting Nelson Mandela, and I gave you my mantra: mixed gas, haul ass, and you went off, man. You just changed your course.
ran with it. I ran with it. I mean, you're talking snowmobiling, so you know, had to go there. But I do want to talk about, because I think it's important that we take advantage. I don't know if take advantage is the right words, but with what happened with Damar, I saw a couple of posts on TikTok because that's where I get my news, that and Instagram. So, but I did see a couple of posts from people that were really interesting. And just to get back on that pray thing a little bit, they looked up the biblical meaning of Damar, and there were two different things. One said there's a scripture associated with the name Damar, and it said, "In that day, the deaf will hear the words, and out of gloom and darkness, the eyes of the blind will see." And then there was another one that is pretty similar. "Enter a song of contemplative prayer so their faith can shine through." So a lot of people in the spiritual world, in the faith world, a lot of Christians, a lot of believers are talking about how this event was too big, where you mentioned in your Facebook post that it seems to be taboo to talk about your religion or praying, especially to do it publicly. And I think it was on ESPN where the guy actually said, "I'm going to pray. I am going to openly pray." And the co-anchors just sat there and they let him pray. And I think that this happened for a reason. You look at the biblical meaning of his name, and I don't think we can overlook the significance of what happened and how it shows how we can come together in prayer. And it shows that it's okay to pray and it's okay to believe. And personally,
I think
our country needs prayer more than ever.
I think that and you are a spiritual being much more than I am. I'm a work in progress. I understand that. I believe I need to have more faith. I live with somebody very spiritual, and I'm a work in progress. But I think what happens is that you know the squeaky wheel gets the grease in this country, and I think that the media plays big into this, and I think corporations play big into this because something will catch on, and you know all of a sudden a major brand will say, yeah, we're not gonna, target prayerful Christian, however you worship. We're not going to target that because we're going to offend somebody. And I think that's what happens. It starts to roll, and it starts to become uncool. And all it takes is it just takes somebody to buck that trend a little bit. And I think you saw that on Monday Night Football, because I don't think there's been a industry, a company, a brand that's been more woke than the NFL, with all their bullshit sayings on their helmet and all this stop hate and all this, it takes love. We get it. You think, I mean, does somebody really think that putting a slogan on the back of an NFL helmet is going to affect me at all, or anybody? No, but it's appeasing corporate USA, and they've got to kiss corporate USA's ass or it doesn't work. And that's the problem I have with corporate USA. Nobody can talk the truth. Nobody can have an opinion. We can't go on this stupid platform and say what we said without getting kicked off. And it is absolute crap. And even what I consider the best media outlets in Chicago and the world have fallen prey to this. You can't go anywhere without getting somebody's agenda. And it certainly leans left. It certainly does. So that's why, I mean, I stopped watching the NFL. And I only watch it when I don't want to watch Emily in Paris or The Crown or hear my girlfriend tell me all about Harry and Meghan, because I don't care. We're watching The Crown, and I'm like, hey, you know how this ends, right?
Right.
Queen dies. Yeah. That princess, that beautiful girl, she's going to get killed in a car accident. She's going to get killed in a car accident with this Dodie Fayed guy. Did you know that? So, I mean, that's the only reason I don't spend a lot of time with the NFL. I won't spend any money on it because of what I just mentioned. And that's a problem for me. I love the sport of football. I think kids should play it. I think the gains that you make far outweigh the risks. I know there's hits that get taken. I know there's bones that get broken. I know there's tendons that get tore. But, man, I'm here to tell you that the camaraderie my kid had, both at the college and at the high school level, was more than I could have offered him, and we're tight, we're close. Yeah. But it gave him a work ethic, and I know people are like, well, can't you get hurt? You know what? I can get hurt walking out my damn driveway today.
We can't do something because we might get hurt. Like you said, benefits far outweigh the risks, and if we continue to live our lives not doing things because of the risk, where's that going to get us in life? Yeah. The kids need to learn. I made my son, I thought he was athletic. Turns out he's not. And I think it's important that every child experience a team sport. Boy, girl, I think it's really important to go through that experience of a team sport. I actually learned that from Garth Brooks on his Netflix special. I think it was Netflix. And he said that he made every one of his kids.
You go from Nelson Mandela to Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
He's a really good guy. That guy is a really good human being. And I know that sometimes people are like, he gets really introspective and he talks in the third person, but Garth Brooks is a straight up 110% good human being.
You know what, Ray? It's one of the reasons I started getting into country music. I was going on a road trip with my sister and she listened to country and she turned it on. I'm like, oh, hell no. Are we listening? No, I can't listen to this giddy up, yeehaw. I mean, I grew up on Led Zeppelin and AC/DC, so it was a little tough for me. So we're listening to it, and then I started getting into Americana music, which is a little tiny bit country. And then I started listening to country a little bit more. And I don't listen to top 40 at all anymore. And the reason I listen to country and I listen to Christian music because it's not like grandma, grandpa, it's rock, like it's rock music, but it's faith-based stuff. And so I realized that country music, Garth Brooks is what made me think about this. They are singing stories of real life. To me, they
just figured this out.
Yes. I mean, come on. I grew up listening to Led Zeppelin and AC/DC, and then I worked 20 plus years in top 40 listening to Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber, although Justin Bieber is turning a leaf. And
Justin Bieber I hear about all the time, about all the faith and the stuff that he sings about for the Beebs. Yeah, he's a talented guy, and I think that there's a faction of guys that I know and hang out with, and just men in general that are like, oh man, that guy's a sissy, and it's like, nah, he's pretty talented. You
Yeah.
ought to be able to admit that.
He is talented, and I really give him a lot of credit for going on stage and talking about his faith journey. And because he got diagnosed with Lyme disease, and before he got diagnosed with Lyme, everybody was accusing him of being a drug addict. And as one who has been through something similar, people saw how sick I was, and they thought I was a drunk, or they thought all these different things. And I didn't know at the time. Justin Bieber didn't know at the time what was going on with his body. And so after he got diagnosed and started healing, is really when he started speaking out about his faith and God, and good for him.
You know what I noticed working with you on this camera thing? I'm a lot better looking than Eric.
Look at that light. That's a revelation.
You bring up country music, and it's changing right now, man. There's a lot of really good music out. When I left US 99 and I went to go do talk radio, it wasn't because I didn't like country. It's that I didn't really like the way management was treating me, and I needed to do something different. And I will have a career in talk radio, back on a radio station sometime in the future. I'm convinced of it. I don't know if I'd go back to doing country, but the music, it's gotten really good. I mean, from Morgan Wallen, who they tried to cancel, to there's this new guy, Parker McCallum, and all this stuff. And I mostly listen to it because of Gina, because I'm more of a guy that would listen to really the classics. Or, I mean, I know so much about country music, it's ridiculous. Mm-hmm. But there's a song by a guy named Jelly Roll. Do you know who Jelly Roll is?
I do. He looks like, I'm judging, but when I first saw him, I actually watched the CMAs. And I saw him on the CMAs. I'm like, if I saw him on the street, I might cross the street. He scares me a little bit.
It looks like he fell in a tackle box. He's got all sorts of things sticking in his face and is all tatted up. Again, we're profiling. Same thing that happened to me at the, guess who's calling me right now?
Uh-oh. Who?
Steve Mandel. Our agent.
Well, isn't that great that he's calling you? Because
you know why he's calling me? And I mean, I know we're going off track here because it's like I just saw a squirrel, but you know why he's calling me? So Steve Mandel is the business manager for Kathy and myself. And he sent nuts to everybody for Christmas.
Yeah. You got his nuts too? Yeah.
I told him that I had a allergic reaction and I was in the hospital.
Oh, you did not.
That's how I got him to call me. But back to Jelly Roll. So this Jelly Roll guy has a song, and there's a couple things that are interesting about it. Getting back to this faith thing that you were talking to, that all ties into what we started with at the beginning of the show. Damar Hamilton and the Buffalo Bills, the safety, and he's singing a song called "I Only Talk to God When I Need a Favor." I only talk to God when I need a favor. Yeah. And I need a favor. And it's really it's not a song that's gonna, go down in infamy as some kind of a great song, but it's got a cool hook, which you gotta have a good hook. And it's just funny because I listen to that song and I'm thinking, okay, this is Nickelback. This is Nickelback or Three Doors Down. Why can't they continue to have hits? And why does everybody make fun of Chad Kroeger when everybody rips the guy off? I mean, he sounds like Matchbox 20 or something. Okay. And that's where country music is right now. Country music is the stuff you were playing 20 years ago on the Hicks or the Mix or whatever the hell you called it.
True. You're right. A lot of this stuff is pop, and it is poppy.
Yeah. I mean, I'll always dig it. I will always love country music, and they're really, they're really approachable. They're nice people. I can call people today that I worked with 20 years ago if I need help with. So, hey, we were talking about that for you. You want to go see Lainey Wilson? I know her record label president. I reached out to him. He hadn't got back to me yet, but they don't forget you.
Yeah, cool. Well, I know I was talking yesterday how excited I am because Bozeman is a small town. We don't have a lot of music venues, and we did just get one. I don't know how many it seats, but it's mostly standing room. And Lainey Wilson is coming, so I actually bought ticket. Can I just tell you one thing about not being in radio that sucks? Buying
The
concert.
free stuff.
Oh my God, do I miss free concert tickets? What?
Well,
So I'm like, okay, a concert, somebody big, like I know her name, I listened to her. And then 3 days later the CMAs come out and she wins all the awards, best new artist, best
yeah.
female vocalist. And I think one of the reasons she's resonated with people is she's real. And I loved that she too, the first award she won, she gets up there and the very first person she thanks is God. And I was like, I think that takes balls nowadays to be able to do that. And I'll be honest, back in my Chicago days when I was just into making fun of everybody and that was my job, we would make fun of people that did that. And in my faith journey, I've asked myself, why did I do that? And I think it's because the mirror was kind of turned around on me a little bit when I was teasing other people about that. And it was like, okay, that's getting to you because you don't have a relationship right now with God. And so anybody that can do that.
Did you meet God on Tinder?
I really.
Is that how you met him?
I did see a really good TikTok the other day, and she was talking about how she's like, God, I love you and I trust you. And I whatever you want to bring down, whatever man you want to bring into my heart, like I've surrendered my heart to you. But I just got to tell you, you are not doing your finest work at the moment.
Yeah, you met God on Tinder. Unbelievable. A faith journey. You know what? You should put together a 3-day, 2-night, 3-day stay at a bed and breakfast and call it a faith journey. Say that you're going to introduce people to God. There might be some money in there. Can I get a amen?
You know where I can do that? There is a town not far from here. I think it's where John Mayer lives. It's called Prey, Montana. It's just out. It's not too far from Yellowstone, maybe a half hour. And there's an awesome hot springs there. I'm actually talking about doing retreats.
Can you go there? And when you go there, can you take a piece of green vinyl and put it over the P so it says Ray?
Okay, I'll do that for you.
All right, check this out. I get a call yesterday. At probably 9:30 at night from up north. And it's my mom. And I got to answer the call because God knows she could have fallen in the bathtub, broke a hip, ran out of weed, whatever. She's 90, identifies as 65. I answer the phone. Hi, Mom. I got a big problem going on here. And I'm like, oh, Christ. What's going on?
Christ, I thought you got to do with it.
I thought my faith journey was going to put me in my truck and have me going up north to fix plumbing, heating, whatever. And I said, what's the problem? My Social Security's gone down. My Medicaid has gone up. They think I made $150,000 last year. And I go, okay, well, how did that happen? You file your taxes, because she's had the same accountant forever. I don't know. You got to go online and you got to go to www. And I'm like, okay, stop.
www.
Yeah. I'm like, Mom, you don't have to do the www. I go, the only reason I want to hear about the www is if it's WWE. Because my faith journey takes me into wrestling rings. So she's just going on. And I mean, and I get it. I get it. She's worried. I mean, she's nervous because this is her money. This is how she survives. And I said, okay, you got to slow down. I'm like, hey, you got to slow down. And she's like, you got to do this. And I'm like, so I jump on the old HAL 2000 computer and I'm trying to log in and create a login for her on the Social Security website because it's a lot easier than having to deal with people on the phone because she talked to somebody at the Social Security department yesterday for 2 hours. And I said, Mom, my friend Kathy met God on Tinder. And that conversation didn't take 2 hours. I go, let me see if I can create a profile. Go into create a profile. There's already a profile for that social security number. She has no idea. She doesn't know. Well, maybe it burned in the fire because everything in our life burned in the fire when my mom's house burned down in 2017. I said, no, Mom, I go, this would be something on record at the Social Security Administration in Washington, D.C. And I don't think it has anything to do with your fire. And I can see her right now. She's got she has a wine glass that looks like a bowl,
Nice.
with a stem on it. I'm like, I know you're sitting there. I know you're sitting there with your wine glass. I go, find the Wheel of Fortune reruns and you watch that, and I'll take care of this. So I go on to the website, the www dot whatever the hell it is, and talking about this, probably going to get kicked off TikTok again, talking about the government. So this morning, I took the form, I filled it out for her. I was her consigliere, if you will, and I go to the Social Security office in Aurora, which isn't far from where I live, and I get there, and I'm being profiled from the minute I pull in the lot.
How so?
And yeah, I'm not kidding. I was profiled, and so I'm standing in line. The place opens at 9. I get there at 8:50. I think I'm just going to sit in the lot in my car and have a nice little coffee, drink my latte, have a sip, and there's 40 people lined up already. So I go into the line and I'm standing there. I'm like, is this the line for the Taylor Swift concert? Are they giving away the tickets? Everybody looks at me like I'm an idiot. I don't think one of them spoke English. And I'm standing there and I, got my coffee, and out comes the security guard. 8:55. He's doing all this. He looks like Chris Farley. 8:55. The office opens at 9. And I'm like, okay. If you don't have a face mask, we'll give you one. I'm the only guy in line without a face mask.
Rebel.
Drinking my coffee. You can't bring any coffee into the building. So I hold up my coffee mug and I go, wink at him, and he's looking right at me. He goes, and you can't just put it on the sidewalk. You got to take it back to your car. I'm like, okay.
I got rules. Got to be a rule follower, Ray.
He's profiling me. And I'm like, you guys made the mistake against my 90-year-old mother who identifies as 65. She's not able to watch the Wheel of Fortune because her mind is racing, that her Medicare went up, her Social Security check went down, and I got to do something about it by going to www. So I go in there, and they give me the face mask, and I'm number 43. Oh. Number 43. That's how many people were in line. So I go in there and I can't wear a mask. I'm telling the guy behind the glass, I'm like, the masks don't work, right? You get that? He's like, I know. And then I'm like, okay, as long as we can agree on that, I'm cool with you. And he's like, well, what's up? And I told him what's going on. I go, they think my mom made $150,000 last year. I said, now, either she's selling her Elvis records, my fishing equipment, or meth, because my mom's not making $150,000. So he logs into the computer and he's like, yeah, she hasn't worked since 1985. And I go, I know. He goes, yeah, it's the beginning. He said, it's the beginning of the year. This happens all the time. And so I'm like,
did you get it fixed?
What's that?
Did you get it fixed?
Well, now, so here's the deal. So now the guy says, it'll be 45 to 50 business days. Keep an eye on your mail. We'll send you a response. I go, 45 to 50 business days? I go, are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
So I told her, I said, Mom, I've got a handle for you. I went to the www site, got it all taken care of. I go, it's going to take a while for you to get a response. I said, but just hang in there. It's going to be okay. I go, oh, by the way, the cable company's coming today to get your Wi-Fi put into your house. So she doesn't. Now that's a whole nother thing. I need a router. I'm like, I go out in Dad's garage. We got a bunch of them. Not that kind of router. So that was my day today. So I not only was I censored by YouTube, but I had the government come down on me, profiling, because God knows what I could have had in my coffee cup. But the people were nice enough to let me take my spot back in line, because by the time I walked down the line to put the coffee cup back in the car, there was another 10 people there. And I thought, if these people think I'm giving up my spot in line because that person that's profiling me, that knows that my parents are of Polish and German descent, and were profiling me, we're going to have a problem. But it actually worked out all right. I'm telling you. Yeah, I told my kids, I go, when I become burdensome, the last words you want to hear from me is, what are you doing with that pillow? Just take me out. Take me out of the game. That's when I begin my faith journey and my relationship with God.
There you go.
What are you doing with that pillow?
That's why you got to move to Montana. Just get away from life. I mean, it's.
Oh,
I've got.
I'm good in northern Wisconsin, man. Up north, life is slowed down to a crawl. It's like my second home. Everybody up there knows me. I'm not a fib up there. You know what a fib is, right?
Effing Illinois bastard.
Yeah. So up there, I'm like a local guy. Mom likes it up there. Her world is smaller, but I have been told by my boss that we're coming to Montana only when the snow melts. I said, well, that should give us a window somewhere between July 15th and August 2nd.
Yes, that's about accurate. There's the joke in Chicago that there's 2 seasons. What is it? Winter and construction, summer and construction. I haven't gone too long. And there's 2 seasons in Montana, winter and August.
Well, I love winter.
You know what?
You know what I do? I go outside and get the snow. I put mustard on it and I eat it.
I don't mind it because the sun here is so warm. I mean, the sun's warm everywhere. Did you know that the sun is warm? But because of our altitude, it's dry. It's like I could go sit outside right now. I think the temperature is like 12, but on my back.
It's a dry cold.
Don't talk to me about that. Let me tell you real quick about oh my God, it looks like,
he's there.
I know someone. He's trying to speak.
Let me do the Christian music thing.
So
Christian music, country music, beer, receiving a Jesus.
That's life. So I've never been on a dating app. I won't say who, but I know someone who has, and she prefers Bumble. She said Bumble's good because you can meet not only potential boyfriends, but friends. You can go on there and just meet friends to go out and hang out with. And I had a night of weakness. I was watching some sappy crap on Netflix. Maybe it was Emily in Paris. I don't know.
Get back to the night of weakness. I want to hear this.
So it's a night of weakness, and I'm feeling all lonely because I hadn't dated. I've been divorced for so long. And I'm like, I swore I would never meet anyone on a dating app. But I had a moment of weakness. And guess what site I went to?
Farmers Only?
Yes.
Did you?
Yes. I did. I'm like, I'm going to meet me a farmer or a cowboy. I think there was a cowboy site. You can only go so far before you have to sign up.
Oh, no, you go as far as you want.
Before you can like communicate with anybody. So I tried to check out some profiles and I had to sign up. I'm like, okay, fine. I just want to see what's out there. And so I get 3 people in. I'm like, oh my God, I'm out. Delete account. I couldn't figure out how to delete the account. I've never been back on a dating site since. No, thank you.
That's your story? I thought you were going to give me like one of those stories I used to read in the back of the Playboy magazine at the body shop. I can't believe this happened to me. I was in a bar in Bozeman and there was this Hall of Fame radio girl there.
No. I have boring stories when it comes to that. Although I was in a bar in Bozeman and a horse came through.
You told me that. And the bartender said, why the long face?
Do you watch Yellowstone?
A little bit.
Oh, I think I already talked about this. Did I already talk about how bars in Bozeman, how they nailed that? They got that right about real cowboys in bars. So, yeah, I was told not to date a cowboy. But if it looks like Rip, or
Because
Casey.
they only ride for 8 seconds.
I'm going to end meeting for all on that. Back in the radio days, we'd go into a stop set. We'd go into a commercial break. We're out.
I always leave the out because my wit.
I think we've said enough. So, all right, let's see if this one can stay up on YouTube, or if it gets deleted for breaking community guidelines. We do that every day, don't we?
You got to subscribe to the channel. If you're here this long, subscribe to the channel. I will be on AM 560 WIND, Chicago's Morning Answer, next Monday from 5 to 9.
Okay.
I got nothing to say, and I'm saying it. And I'll call our agent back and see what he wants.
I'll tell him to call me too. I'm available the rest of the day. We need to chat.
All right. Do me a favor.
Yeah.
And tell the Jesus that Ray said hi.
Tell him yourself.
Hi.
Okay. He's listening. He's always listening. Have a chat. Peace out.